On the factory floor, a massive steel coil, tightly wound and secured with steel bands, represents an immense store of kinetic energy. A worker approaches to cut the restraining straps, but the area lacks a secure containment cage. He moves in close, making the final cut on the last band. The tension is released. The heavy outer layers spring open instantly, lashing out with violent force and striking the worker. The close call demonstrates the absolute speed of stored energy release. Never under any circumstance stand in the path of a coiled materials tension spring line. Always use safety restraints, remote cutting tools, and a designated collapse zone. The hazard of uncontrolled release is non-negotiable. On the production floor, a large heavy machine component is being transported by an overhead mechanism. A worker stands dangerously close to the path of the suspended load, focused on his nearby task. Without warning, the hoisting or conveying mechanism suffers a critical failure. The massive component instantly drops, crashing to the ground right next to the unsuspecting worker. This was an extreme close call. Maintain absolute clear zones beneath all suspended loads. Always verify the weight capacity and integrity of overhead transport system. Distance and diligence are the only shields against falling mass. High on the job site, a worker attempts to descend using a ladder resting against the scaffolding structure. The safety of the entire system relies on proper assembly and bracing. However, the scaffolding structure is unstable or improperly secured at the base. As the worker shifts their weight, the entire tower begins to dangerously lean. The structure fails instantly, collapsing and taking the worker with it from height. The integrity of the scaffolding base is non-negotiable. Always verify proper bracing and locking mechanisms before use. A ladder is only as safe as the structure it relies upon. Structural failure demands constant vigilance. Outside a residential garage, a person is operating a powerful table saw, cross-cutting a long wooden board. This type of cutting inherently carries the danger of kickback, which occurs when the wood binds or pinches the spinning blade. It appears the safety guards or anti-kickback pawls are either removed or improperly engaged, and the operator is standing directly in the potential line of fire. Suddenly, the wood twists and catches the back of the blade. The massive rapid energy transfer violently launches the board backward with extreme speed, striking the person sharply in the abdomen. This serves as a stark warning about respecting machine power. Never operate a table saw without the blade guard and anti-kickback mechanisms fully deployed. Always stand slightly to the side of the blade's path. Kickback is an unforgiving force. The only way to beat it is to prevent it entirely by using every safety feature. Inside the tire shop, several individuals are gathered near an area where a large tire is being inflated to high pressure. This simple task harbors extreme, hidden danger, as the air pressure inside a tire can reach lethal forces if the integrity is compromised. Crucially, the tire is not secured within a safety inflation cage, and people are standing too close to the line of fire. Suddenly, the compromised tire violently fails. The massive catastrophic rupture instantly releases the stored energy. The entire tire assembly explodes upward, impacting the people in its direct path. Never inflate a tire without securing it within a certified safety cage. High-pressure air is an invisible explosive force. Maintain absolute distance from any unsecured tire during the inflation process. High above the ground on a busy construction site, a worker performs tasks atop a large, freestanding scaffolding unit. This temporary structure, designed to provide safe elevated access, relies entirely on proper leveling, firm base support, and secure diagonal bracing. Crucially, the inspection or assembly procedures were incomplete. As the worker shifts position or a subtle movement occurs, the entire high-reaching structure instantly loses stability. The scaffolding begins its catastrophic collapse, accelerating towards the ground. The worker is forced to make a split-second, desperate decision, leaping clear of the falling structure just moments before it impacts the ground. This survival was pure chance. Safety systems like proper scaffolding assembly and 100% tie-off compliance are not optional procedures. Structural integrity failures demand constant vigilance. Never trust luck or last-second reflexes to save you. Only strict adherence to fall protection standards provides guaranteed safety. In a busy kitchen setting, several people are preparing food, and a pot or frying pan is left unattended on the heat. The cooking oil quickly reaches its flash point, and suddenly the pan bursts into flames. The immediate reaction is panic and confusion. No one seems sure of the correct emergency response for this specific hazard. In a desperate attempt to extinguish the growing blaze, someone grabs the nearest liquid. Water. The catastrophic error is instantaneous. As the water hits the superheated oil, it instantly vaporizes, creating a massive explosion of steam and atomized oil that carries the fire outward and upward with terrifying force. Never, under any circumstances, use water on a grease or oil fire. Water droplets sink into the lighter oil, causing an uncontrolled steam explosion that spreads the flames catastrophically. The correct response is always to immediately turn off the heat source, then either smother the fire with a tight-fitting lid or use a Class K or Class F fire extinguisher. Knowing the different classes of fire and their proper suppression agents is a critical skill for home and professional safety. Workers are inflating a large tire. High-pressure inflation is one of the most hazardous routine tasks in a garage, especially without the use of a certified safety cage. The tire begins to exhibit clear signs of imminent failure, a loud, alarming hiss and creak indicating that the bead or casing integrity has been compromised. Recognizing the dangerous auditory warning, both workers react instantly and correctly by evacuating the immediate vicinity and retreating indoors. Seconds later, the compromised tire violently fails. The catastrophic pressure rupture releases a tremendous amount of stored energy. The sheer force of the resulting blast highlights why respecting safety warnings is paramount. Never ignore any unusual sound during inflation. A hiss or creak is a life-saving warning to evacuate the area immediately. Always use a safety inflation cage to contain the shrapnel and blast radius of a high-pressure failure. In the gas handling area, a worker is dealing with a high-pressure cylinder valve. He attempts to seal or manage the valve without fully verifying the line's depressurization status. A rapid, uncontrolled pressure burst instantly rips free from the cylinder. A sharp, forceful discharge. The unexpected release of energy hits the worker, violently throwing him to the ground. He quickly recovers, visibly shaken, but immediately getting back to his feet. Never assume the status of a pressure vessel. Always confirm zero residual pressure before any manual handling of valves. Pressure safety requires diligence. Even a sudden gas discharge can cause severe impact and loss of control.